Yes, indeed, folks. It's Cataclysm Q&A time. Send it in to the Murloc at cynicalbrit.com. That is the Murloc at cynicalbrit.com or the Murloc at gmail.com, whichever you prefer. Also, short questions can be taken via the IRC chat only. I do not take them in Tiny Chat because the spam is impossible to deal with. Or via Twitter, whichever you prefer. So we shall kick it off right here with the usual end to the show. You know, it's going to be very, very sad when Cataclysm finally releases, because I'm going to have to go back to a topic, you know, and it's a section that actually requires work on my part. So bad. So very, very bad. Oh, okay. Okay, what do we have? Spam, 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 spam. Dear host of show.
You dare look upon the host of souls! I shall devour you all!
Did I overdo that a little? I'm thinking so. Hey there, TBM played WoW since vanilla. Personally, pre-TBC was the most fun I had in WoW. In your videos and podcasts, I've noticed that in some respect, you've gotten back into some aspects of vanilla WoW mechanics such as crowd control, which has gotten me excited even more for the game. Now, the question is, what would you think would be a nice addition for Blizzard to include? Now, I assume that you mean from vanilla. Well, progression would be nice. And bear in mind that the best time I had in WoW was actually in TBC. I thought TBC got it right. TBC had at least 2 proper instances per tier, which is very, very important to me. I think that's the best way to do things, which means you get variety. The instances weren't necessarily too long. There were just more of them, which is totally fine as well. Some days you just don't want to raid for 5 hours. Just like, okay, we'll just go do Tempest Keep. Okay, or we'll do Hyjal, which, when experienced, it can do in about an hour and a half. Even less than that, maybe. And they're going back to that already, so that's good. What is... I mean, honestly, they're including most of the things that I liked from vanilla in that. And a lot of the things that I liked from TBC in there. And they're skipping stuff like attunements, which I think are personally garbage. So, really, I don't think there's a lot that they could add to it. Bear in mind that the game has advanced, and a lot of this stuff you really can't do anymore. It's just not acceptable. What was okay back then, as in doing Molten Core trash, is not okay now. Hell, Chthon trash is not okay now. It's just too much of it. It's okay to have hard trash, but it's not okay to waste people's time with unnecessary amounts of trash. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Honestly, I'm totally stumped on that, so I'll have to come back to you. It should be a testament, by the way, to how good they're doing so far with Cataclysm and why it is lining up to be the best expansion yet, that I can't come up with anything from vanilla that I would want to add. It's as simple as that. It's good stuff, isn't it? Okay, what else are we going? Has Uldum been populated yet? Yes, it has. Although, some people are saying it's a little bit empty, which I would actually agree with. It is a little empty. Just a little. Where is Tinkertown? I cannot tell you. It is a secret location. Dear TB, what is your favourite WoW raid boss from vanilla until now? Oh. Chthon. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's Chthon. Chthon is badass. Such a good fight. To me, Chthon is where WoW raiding really hit its maturity. And unfortunately, of course, it did go on to some degree into TBC, and they did very well there. There's a bunch of really cool bosses there. But then Wrath sort of lost the plot, really. Chthon was just such an epic fight. And it took us so long to actually beat it, that when we finally beat it, it was so goddamn rewarding. Oh, yeah. What are the changes to priests for Cataclysm? I have no idea. All I know is there's some kind of system called Chakra, which you might want to have a look at. I don't even know how to spell it. There we go. Talent preview, Chakra. Yeah, there's so many things with classes that I don't really understand. And yeah, I am having other people on the show at some point in the not-too-distant future to talk about these kind of things. But yeah, Chakra, you enter a Chakra state when you use Prayer of Healing, Renew, or Heal 3 times in a row, and you can it boosts certain heals. So like your Chakra, or Chakra, whichever you prefer. Like Smite increases your total damage done by 4, 8, or 12% if you've got a particular nice bit of Chakra and stuff like that. Yeah, there's lots of different mechanics in there, but personally, I would ask someone who actually knows what they're talking about when it comes to priests. Q&A on mechanics. Going from Samuel Parcell, and he says, just how far do you think the mechanics should go in raid encounters in Cataclysm? Like, don't stand in me mechanics, or say, like, you must do this at a certain time, or should it dive deeper, like little hints about quest lines or around the dungeon which lead to the boss's weakness? And should professions be incorporated into raids and things, like, say, all healing increased by 370... What is that? I don't even know what that is, but I will certainly talk about the concept of raid mechanics. How far should they go? Well, honestly, I don't think they should pop up and say, something is happening, move. But here's the thing. Add-ons already do that. And nobody in their right mind is going to choose not to use an add-on that already does that. So why not just put it into the game anyway? That's the argument. It's the same with stuff like threat meters. For the longest time, threat meters didn't exist. And it was important to manage your aggro and know how much damage you were doing. But then threat meters came in, and then Blizzard had to respond to that by putting in their own threat meters, because otherwise, it's just, you're going to use it anyway. You know you're going to use it anyway, so why not just put it into the game UI? I would love, honestly, I think the idea of hinting quest lines to get bosses' weaknesses, that's awesome. It's a really cool idea. And actually, I think that could be a very neat way of doing things, because some people don't want to watch boss tutorial videos, and they would like to discover it for themselves, but I think that would really help. And also, some people don't know that boss tutorial videos exist, and I think questing might be a way, particularly for more casual players, to learn a bit about the encounter before they go in, and not have to go outside the game to learn. This is something I've said for the longest time. It would be great, but very impractical if everything you ever needed to learn how to play WoW was within WoW itself. It can't happen, but I think effort should be made to have quite a lot of cool stuff within the game that does actually teach people. Hi, Tall Biscuit. When will the Cynical Brit poster be sold? No idea, at some point. The canvas thing that I had on webcam before it fell off my background is a prototype, and we're looking to maybe roll out some of those in the not-too-distant future. I don't think we're going to be selling them for profit, honestly. They're just going to be for cost. Either that, I'm going to sell them for, and I'll donate the profits to charity one way or the other. So, whichever people want more. I might actually put up a two-tier pricing structure. You can buy one a little bit more expensive, it'll go to charity, or you can buy one at cost price. Something like that. Do you find it amusing when Blood Elves use two-handers? I always find it amusing when Blood Elves attempt to do anything. It's like they should snap when they're wielding those things. Do you think that instances should have more traps like the Frogger boss and the Smoke After Sourfang? Yeah, absolutely they should. The Frogger boss, sadly, is the hardest boss in Naxxramas 25, man, and that should speak volumes as to how terrible raiding got in Wrath. Yeah, damn right there should be more traps, and it should also make it more useful for rogues to go and look for them. I remember when we ran into traps in ICC, and I was like, great, welcome back, traps. Awesome. We haven't seen those in ages. I mean, when was the last time you actually saw a trap in raiding before that? God. Although you all hate me for saying this, Diamond Troll, you have a lot of grammatical errors in your videos. Can you please explain this? Where? Where exactly do the grammatical errors occur? I can't identify them if you're not going to tell me. Actually, all humans that are... Yes, okay, fact check OMG. Nobody cares, it was a joke. Get over it, you Spurge Lord. Hey, TB, I was wondering how many people you think are going to rejoin the game when Cataclysm drops, and if Blizzard is considering merging some low-pulp realms. No, they haven't done this, and they probably won't do it. They hate it. Merging realms is like an admission of defeat. That's why Blizzard won't do it. They've actually done a reasonably good job, mostly, of balancing realms. Mostly. There are some very glaring exceptions, but if you look at it, the majority of realms work fairly well. The minority needs some work. I think that with they're going to use Cataclysm as a way to balance those realms and cause a great influx of people to come back. They'll probably offer some free moves, maybe some incentives for people to move on to different realms. And yeah, I think a lot of people will come back to Cataclysm, if only to see what's happened to the stuff they used to do. They might buy Cataclysm and resub for a month. I think this is going to have the biggest influx of people returning than any other expansion. By far. Hey TB, I thought there was going to be a new neutral port to the east of Arathi Highlands. Do you know anything about it? No. Not a clue. I don't know anything about that whatsoever. Maybe there is one, but I haven't seen it. The only neutral port that I can think of... Actually, I can't think of one. Yeah, even the Gadget Sand port isn't technically all that neutral. I don't think. Actually, I suppose it might be. Yeah, I think there's one in Gadget Sand that's a neutral port, but most of them are either Alliance or Horde. Okay. Does listening to Addicted to Epics about 3 times before your podcast make me a nerd? well, that makes you someone that's got way too much time in your hands. I can tell you that for a fact. Hey, TB, I thought the Cataclysm... I heard that in Cataclysm there will no longer be sub-professions and everything within the profession will be available. Is that plan? As far as I'm aware, yeah, there won't be any sub-professions as far as I know. I haven't seen them, certainly. I will have to look into that further. Okay. The comment you made about XP rep for so-called Zerg guilds is just wrong from the current build. The guild XP is limited to a total amount per day. Yeah, I already said that. I already said that. Thank you. I am wrong for something I already said about an hour ago on the show. Great. With the revamp of 1 to 60 content, will professions be changed on the basis that you will need less materials in order to craft? And will they change the way professions level to make it quicker or easier? It is already quicker or easier. If you craft, like, blue items and stuff, you can get multiple skill-ups from that. As to lowering the amount of resources required, I don't think they have any plans on doing that. But there have been some remodeling on the lower end, hopefully to make some of the crafting stuff a little bit more useful. And that is indeed what they should do, without a question. I'm not going to answer yet another mage question. That's getting a little bit dull. What do you know what will happen to the classes? What do you mean? Hunters get focus, etc. They all have changes. Like, say, for instance, the Warlock Soul Shard change. Or the Balanced Druid Eclipse Bar change. It's not really a change per se. It was kind of already in the game, but they've expanded on it. Paladins get that holy power thing. So, yeah, there have been some changes, but not everybody gets a major mechanic change. They should. When do you think the Cataclysm cinematic's going to be out? I think they will show the proper cinematic at BlizzCon, honestly. I would be very shocked if they didn't. Do you think that having harder dungeons in Cataclysm is going to cause people to complain? Of course it's going to cause people to complain. People are going to whine and bitch about literally everything. All I hope is that Blizzard sticks to its goddamn guns and says, suck less, be less terrible, learn to play. That's all that's needed, really, isn't it? One last question, then we'll shout out, then we'll play a song, and then I will inflict upon you the awfulness of live Show Me How to Raid, because the majority of people asked for it, and I love embarrassing myself on the air. One last question. I'll take it from the IRC. No, I've already answered that one. Not doing that. I can't talk about that. I would take ages. No, I don't care about that either. Wow, these are bad questions. Seriously. Come up with something that doesn't suck. Ah, here's one. We know archaeology will give us the Karaji Mount, who can... But do you think that maybe... I'm sorry, I'm having to translate this. This is not the best English I've ever read. Do you think that they'll maybe add the Zulian Tiger and Raptor from Zul'Gurub? Very likely, or at least a variation on. I hope they don't add the same one. I hope they change it in terms of at least the colour scheme or add some little doodads to it. But yeah, I think they will change it. And I think they will put it in as an archaeology thing. I don't see why not. That seems perfect. Unless, of course, unless they're now skeletal raptors. In which case, a skeletal tiger. Alright, a skeletal tiger. That'll be pretty badass. Okay, shout-out time, folks. Send them in. The Murloc at CynicalBrit or gmail.com, whichever you prefer. I'd prefer Gmail. It gets there quicker. Or you can send it over Twitter, or you can send it over IRC. I can't really take them from the tiny chat, like I said before, because it just doesn't work out so well. But in the meantime, I'll do shout-outs to those of you... Oh, wow, Soki. TB, what's your favourite change in Cataclysm? Nice. Yeah, okay, I'll answer that because you actually put some effort into that. That's some good writing. Why did you write it in pink? Can you explain that to me? What's my favourite change in Cataclysm? Dungeons that I can't roll over by just putting my face to the keyboard, kind of like this, and rolling backwards and forwards. Actually, let me demonstrate what face rolling actually is. So, here we go. This'll do. So, I have this keyboard right here. This is a demonstration of a Death Knight doing a Wrath of the Lich King dungeon on a Microsoft Comfort Curve keyboard. I'm going to have to raise the hat here. There we go. Roll the face, roll the face. Oh, epic, wonderful, fantastic. That's what it is. Useless keyboard. Right. Okay, people on here. Farseer, do you have Warhams there? And are there Spec Marines? If they are Spec Marines, I'm not impressed. Heck, Soki. Soki's gonna... He's some kind of ninja. That's pretty impressive. Murden, your hat. Not up to snuff, mate. You need a better hat. Look at that. What kind of hat is that? You need a real hat like this one, a man's hat. Let me zoom in to show you just how handy. Look at this. You see the little thing around the rim right there? Yeah, it's very nice. Tailored. Stylish. Hef. Is that a chicken on your head? That's multiple hats, I must say. You're very greedy with your hat. I can endure that. It's fair enough. You need multiple hats in order to try and match the greatness of this hat. King. What the fuck? Finnegan. I must thank you, by the way, for hiding your ugly face. It is so wonderful. You have a great selection of masks in order to do that. Bacon Strip is advancing. Yes, is advancing the number of hats there. It's very impressive. That's what, 7, 8, 9 maybe? It's good stuff. Aaron A, you're a suitable replacement for Nagranol. You are metal enough. I'm impressed. Your headbanging is good, sir. We shall have to do a little bit more later on. Antidote is apparently preparing for war by the looks of it. Either that or he's flying some kind of aircraft. I can't really tell. And Dark Lady is somehow brave enough to come back for a third time. And nice hair. Very epic, one might say. Yes, I did just say... That's a killer purple. That's even more purple than my shirt, and that's impressive. Right, what have we got? Oh my god, the spam. Shout out to Sidea and Exeter US. A shout out to Mezzaholy, who is currently leveling a troll hunter named Meowth. A shout out to the 10-Bun Hammer, the new Cataclysm legendary. Yes, quite. And a shout out to my guild knights around all the US. That's from Seancaster. Let's speed this up a bit. Shout out to Angelo. Onin finally realized that Angelo is a man. A shout out to Nerds Are Sexy too for being back, but sad that she can't get a broadcasting spot. Yes, we do need to work on that. A shout out to all the fellow trolls, especially the Shaman. That's from Ayumu. A shout out to Darkonian, who has won 10 arena matches in a row. 10, you say? Huh, I thought it was...
Not one, but two.
Wow, 10. Very impressive. What else do we have? Now that's a question. We can't have that. Shout out to me for actually joining IRC. That's from Slayer Isaac. Yes, you may have it. You may have it. What else do we have? Shout out. Please mark your shout out as actual shout outs, by the way. It's really hard to find them when you don't. It's really confusing. It gets mixed in with everything. I need to actually update my account right here. Check mail now on the Murloc at cynicalbrit.com. There we go. What server will the Troll Guild be on? Anchorage EU is the simple answer to that. Refresh my Twitter. There we go. Many more. Many more. Shout out must go out to Hatterson, and a shout out to Ralph for creating the alternate chat solution that may very well in fact be what we use in future. A shout out to my new guild on Stormscale called Bacon Frog Dungeon Squad. Galani asks when I'll activate status bar. Never, because it makes you mad. I'm done, folks. Thank you very much for listening to the show. I'm going to play a song while I prepare to deafen all of you in a horrible manner. Now, some of you might wonder why I have to do it in this ghetto fashion. I'm going to actually have to play the backing track through the speakers, because Sound Broadcaster would mean that my voice was out of sync, which would be even more crazy. So I'm going to play a track that is good, and then I'm going to ruin a track that wasn't all that good to begin with. Thank you ever so much for listening to the show, ladies and gentlemen, as I prepare for my embarrassment in front of thousands in front of the internet. I have no shame! What can we play? Good tracks, many good tracks. So many good tracks that are available. I think a little bit of Captain Dan might be in order, you know. Yes. Why not? This tongue, or indeed this song, whichever you prefer. It contains strong language. It's called Mutiny. Enjoy.